This is the cold start video for the 2006 BMW 320 Ci. Would you like to start her up, please? Would you like to increase the revs, please? Would you like to increase the revs, that's it, thank you. And a couple of blips, please. Just going for a spin in Mike's 2006 BMW 320 Ci. Sorry, SI. I think I said CI in the core video as well as SI. Yeah, so this is the four-door version, the E90 model. And how long have you owned the car for, Mike?
10 years now. So I bought it in 2014, which is quite a long time ago. At the time I was looking for something a bit more grown up, but also something a bit different. I don't like having the same car as everyone else, so I've always tried to find something that was a bit interesting. And I admittedly had no idea what this was until I was looking at Alpina D3s, E90s as well at the same time, and I came across a dealer who had one, but also had one of these in stock.
Yeah.
Saw it and absolutely loved it. I think it was cool. Did some research into like the history around it. You know, it's a homologation special, so you know you don't see many of them on the road. There's only I think 130-ish of them now still running. They only made 500 in right-hand drive, so it's a really exclusive car. It kind of ticked the box for me in terms of something that was a bit different, interesting, practical, good fun to drive, and yeah, a bit more grown up than the GTI.
Actually rarer than an M3 as well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, my old man's one. Yeah, it was good, and it's kind of kicked on from there. I mean, I'm a massive petrol head, so I've had an F90 M5 and R35 GTR as well from there. So yeah, this was kind of the genesis of me picking some really cool machines.
So did you use the car as an occasional car then in that case?
Yeah, very much so. It's quite a special car, and I'm obviously conscious that it's very low mileage, and I really enjoy driving it, but it's not an everyday car. I wouldn't take it to the shops, for example, just because the whole point of it is it's a bit special, it's a bit cool, interesting. That's not to say that I've not done some mundane trips in it.
Of course, yeah. Well, the cars need to be used at the end of the day, don't they?
Exactly. I don't want it sitting there, gathering dust or doing anything, which is kind of another reason why I'm looking to sell. Sadly, I just I don't have time to drive it anymore. We had a 6-month-old now, which is amazing, and the car's kind of well, I mean, the plan is to kind of put the money towards his future, and that's one nice element of it. But the other element, of course, is that it's an amazing driver's car, and if I am not able to look after it and enjoy it and drive it, then I think someone else should, because it's a bit of a piece of history in a lot of ways. Of course, yeah. It's such a rare beast, and it's funny, like you meet proper petrol heads, it's Cars and Coffee, or you go up to Caffeine and Machine. Most people don't know what it is.
Sure.
There are very occasionally a couple of people who twig and go, oh, I saw like the JM video on that a couple of years ago, or I saw the VBH original 5th gear video on it as well, where it was pulling like well over 1.1 G in some fairly low speed corners. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I've got to it. It's not an everyday car, but I'd still enjoy driving it, and I'm living with it.
And in terms of the steering, how would you describe its feel?
It's really good. There's no play in it at all. It's one of these amazing things about slightly older cars as well. It's a proper hydraulic steering system, and it's quite heavy. It's just reassuring. It's, you know, you feel like you're in full control. The feedback from the front wheels is really good. Yeah, I think it's one of the best features of it is the steering by quite a long way. The steering rack is off the WTCC car as well, so it's a little bit quicker than the standard 320.
And we're sort of negotiating sort of various speed bumps here, and I can't hear any sort of unwanted noises from the wheels. It's quite good. There's no knocking or vibrations.
No vibrations at all. No, nothing of that nature. There's the very, very small rattle from a missing bolt in the offside front rear. What's it called, the back plate for that. So I mean, anyone that was going to buy the car would probably have to have that addressed. But I mean, it's here and that, you can't hear it.
You can't hear it.
So yeah, it's mechanically very sound.
And are you happy with the performance of the gearbox?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit like a bolt action rifle one actually. It's not whatever you call the billeted aluminium ones, but it feels a bit like it. You know, it's very good. It's engages properly. Yeah, it's
nice short throws on there as well, isn't it?
Very short. I know one of the other things about the M Sports at the time, and it's not unique to this model, but you know, obviously it benefits from it, is, you know, quite a short gear lever, which is quite nice to kind of throw it in and around.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And presumably you're sort of satisfied with the clutch's performance as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, got a great bite point, doesn't slip. You know, it's a slightly heavier clutch again than the standard 320, just to deal with the additional, well, mostly the additional revs, but also the power as well. So yeah, very, very happy with it.
And in terms of the braking, any issues at all?
No, none at all. Very good brakes. As far as BMWs go, anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's very good. It's quite a light car as well, so it's funny if you look at it in comparison to sort of modern performance cars as well. The discs are reasonably small, but it only weighs just over 1,400 kilos. That's wet weight as well, so it's very light, and you know, as a result, it stops really well. Obviously, it's got all of the traction control, ABS, DTC stuff as well. All of that works really well. Yeah, it's not great stopping in the snow, but no cars.
No, of course not. And in terms of oil pressure and engine temperature, have you experienced any issues at all?
No, not at all. No, it's I think these engines are, you know, a little bit famous for being a bit fragile, but I've kind of taken a more of a preventative rather than reactive approach to kind of maintenance. So it's been maintained and serviced far more frequently than the original spec sheet requires it to. You know, I've paid very good attention to the type of oils that it gets used. It's just been serviced. So when I first bought the car, it was looked after by BMW main dealers mostly, but I actually found that you were getting quite much better and more knowledgeable people at independents. I found there's a garage in Southeast London called BM Sport who you know, deal with a lot of performance cars. I came across them on one of the Beamer forums, and they'd actually looked after a couple of these for a number of years. So I took it down there, and you know, they know the model inside and out. It's a you know, it's not something that my concern is, obviously if you take it into any garage that doesn't know what it is, they start putting, you know, standard 320 parts into it and the wrong oil and this, that and the next thing. So you know, it's having that reassurance about somebody that knows what they're doing and knows, you know, for example, the valve clearances need to be done every, I think the service book says every 20, but I've had it done every 10 since I've had it. So yeah, I think the engine's fantastic, no issues at all.
Perfect. And in terms of dashboard functions, would I be correct in assuming everything
works? Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I think to maybe be fully transparent about is the radio head function. So that works absolutely fine, but when the car gets a bit hot, you find some of the pixels dim.
Okay,
which I think is a fairly common thing for
absolutely.
the 90s anyway. But yeah, otherwise, you know, everything works absolutely fine. Onboard computer works really well. Yeah, nothing to report there.
Perfect.
I think the ride's actually quite good for a car like this. Obviously, predated sort of adaptive suspension, so the shocks and springs are reasonably hard, and it also sits sort of 15 mil lower than the standard 320 M Sport as well. But you know, I think they struck quite a good balance with it actually.
I was going to say it's well weighted as well.
Yeah.
You can feel. I mean, obviously you can feel its firmer suspension, but it's not. You know, my fillings aren't falling out my teeth, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
quite nicely balanced.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, I suppose the most important thing is that you can't hear any sort of damper noises or any sort of pings from the suspension.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, we've just gone over quite a
Exactly.
number
Yeah.
of,
So it's a durable test, really, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Power delivery is very smooth as well. That's something that, again, I love about all naturally aspirated engines. You know, it's such a smooth delivery the whole way through the rev range. This one revs. I mean, I've never taken it anywhere near the red line in recent years. When I first got it, obviously it was much newer than it is now.
Of course,
so
yeah.
fully explored it at that point. But yeah, it sounds amazing right up at the top end. Again, part of the charm of the engine was they increased the bore and stroke in the engine, let it rev out a little bit more. So I think the standard 320 red line of that age was maybe 6,500. This one goes up to 7.3. So when it's right at the top end, it sounds angry. It sounds like a hornet's nest or something.
But it obviously that's the way the car was designed to deal with that kind of road performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's not particularly fast in a straight line, right? I mean, it's 175-ish brake horsepower. So by modern standards, it's not a fast car in a straight line, but it's one that loves to rev it out, get it in the right gear, link up a few corners. The way it holds the road is fantastic, and there's something really satisfying about linking all that up together and keeping your momentum going and working, and it will keep up with some much faster machines that are in a straight line, but it makes up for it in handling dynamics and feel.
It's a bit of a wolves and sheep's clothing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because to the uninitiated, they'll look at the car and not really make the connection. So
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Mike.